All right. Well, hey there. Welcome to another episode of Agent Success Secrets. And today's special guest is Kara Moll. Kara, I have actually known you for a really long time. I met you in the bold room, and I didn't even want
Yes.
to do the math because it was so long ago.
It was just a few years ago. Let's just go with that. Let's just
Just
stick with
a
it.
few years back.
Few
But
years.
I have just always loved all of your energy, your knowledge, and your passion for helping us agents be purposeful and productive at the same time. So tell everyone who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff.
Oh my gosh. Okay. My name is Kara Moll and thank you, Jenny, for that warm intro. I have been a real estate agent since 2003 and with KW since 2008. And I've always believed in coaching. Have always loved um, helping people see what's in themselves because I know what it did for me. And my journey really began in 2009 when they first did Bold outside of Austin, Texas. Chicago was lucky enough. I am in Chicago, Illinois. Was lucky enough to get one of those coveted spots when the first Bold coaches were going out, and that program really changed my production vis-a-vis changed my life because it helped me streamline things, helped me do things better. And fast forward a couple of years later, becoming a Bold coach, my whole passion to become a Bold coach was I had gone through some really rough things in my life, financially. If we do the math, '08, '09, all of that, right? Shifting markets. I'd like to, most people would say lost everything. I voluntarily gave it all back to the bank because it was just it. I was ready to move on with things and have built a different life because of decisions that I made, being in Bold and then becoming a coach and having a coach. Anytime I'm faced with a rough decision, it's like I've got any one of, five personal coaches on speed dial. So I truly believe in a person's capacity to change and that one size isn't fits all and that life is a buffet and you're going to hear a lot of stuff and you're going to learn a lot of stuff. Take the pieces that resonate with you and figure out how do I use this piece to do something really incredible moving forward. So that's a little bit about me. And more recently, Jenny, we've become not reacquainted, but are playing swimming in the same pool again. Let's put it that way. As part of Phil Jones' guide community, one of less than 50 people actually licensed to go out and teach his stuff, and actually hosting a great collab here in October. We just got the registration link for 2 days with Phil in Chicago in October. Unprecedented. And I taught language of sales, then I rewrote language of sales, then I rewrote it again and again. And so much of what I do is how does the mind connect with the words to help someone get what they want? So it's a lot about me.
Well, and this is all about you, so that's
Oh,
okay.
well, thank you.
It's not natural because we tend to want to ask great questions so other people do
Yeah,
the talking because someone has
exactly.
taught us that that's the way to make people feel special. And
Jenny, it's my life. I coach. I ask questions for a living, right? That's what I do.
well, I want to dive into asking you a
Yeah.
question. We are
Yeah.
women of a bit of a more mature age, and there has been change up in our real estate
Yeah.
market. And those that have been in a long time, I'm, 24 years in the business now,
Mhm.
and it's just I've learned a lot and gone through all the different cycles that have just made us stronger for being again here. And not everyone has those years of experience like we do. So, what are you hearing from your coaching clients?
Oh my gosh.
In today's world.
Yeah. I think the overwhelming theme is overwhelm, right? There's a lot of frustration and overwhelm and feeling a lack of control because for all intents and purposes, we can say that in most markets across the country, we've gone back to something that's more normal, right? Whatever that means. Before we had, the real estate like boom in the late 2000s, which we know ended up in the crash. in 2008, 9, 10, all of that, and then the recovery, and then right when things are stable again. Oh, and by the way, interest rates are record lows. Oh, then COVID comes, and we have that craziness, which is completely different. And then oh, that wanes, and all of a sudden people are looking, going, what? Wait. This has been on the market 2 days. Why isn't it under contract? Wait, 30 days, 45 days, 90 days? What do I do? So, what I'm hearing a lot of is frustration with being able to adapt to whatever the current market is, the fluidness. And because of that, I think people, and especially women, because we wear so many different hats, right? Um, People are looking at it as I've got to do more. I've got to do more. I've got to go do more. I've got to be better. And quite often the answer isn't more or better, it's different. It's looking at things in a different way. So for instance, um, you take the I'm going to use the example of the mom, right? The mom who is a real estate agent who's got a great business and had a booming business when the market was crazy, 4 or 5 years ago, and maybe had a few agents on their team that is now looking and going, this is hard. This is hard, right? I'm having to take calls outside of normal time, and now I have to call a seller and tell them again this week it didn't sell. So one of the things that I'm working with on a lot of clients is looking at what are the things you actually control versus what you can't control, right? And if we're looking at the things we can control, what could we be doing different? And a lot of it has to do with pre-framing conversations. It doesn't always have to be a cleanup on aisle 10. It's a how are you setting up expectations in advance, whether it's with a seller, whether it's a buyer, whether it's with your family in a normal conversation. How are you setting up those conversations so that everybody wins? Because I don't know about you, Jenny, but I know some of the biggest issues that I've had in life when it came to other people was a misunderstanding in communication
Yeah. Yeah.
and lack of clarity.
Now, was snooping on your Instagram. I follow you
Oh,
on all your stuff, and I
well,
saw your
thanks.
saw your video the other day that
Yeah.
I think really would resonate well with our audience here. And that is, like you said, we're driven and focused and purposeful people. We've had the successes and the wins, and now we're feeling deflated and overwhelmed and uncertain.
Hmm.
Is grinding it always better? And if that's not the case, how can our drive be subsided by instead being at peace where
Oh, yeah.
we,
Well, peace, I'm gonna say this, and I don't mean it flip. Peace is a choice. It really is, right? We don't want to grind, and the situation you're referring to is one that I've seen more than once, Jenny, and that is, a client is in absolute overwhelm, going like, you know, I've got all this pressure on me to build this big team, or I have this big team, and this particular client didn't like managing people. Like it was not her forte. Like a lot of high D driver rainmakers, they're just like, oh yeah, the KPA says you're a good fit, so you know how to do the job. Go do it, right? And then 90 days later, when they're not doing the job, or the person's doing the job the best they can, and it's not the way the rainmaker thinks it should be done, it's like, oh, the person's a jerk, an idiot, they're dumb, they're fired, right? And that's not a way to lead. And unfortunately, I've seen that quite a lot. So what we worked on with this particular client, and I have a few others as well, that we looked at, well, what is it that you really want? Like, what is that purpose? And for this one, it was to, build a big life for her family and have this financial security. And what we realized is because she was carrying three admin and for various jobs, and like full-time true admin, and had several agents on her team that weren't producing, that were just a cause of frustration because she's paying office bills every month. She's on a team cap, and it's costing her money. She became very frustrated. So we looked at, okay, if we look at just your production and we lop out all of these other expenses from the agents and we get you down to one good admin and maybe a transaction coordinator, what would that look like to the bottom line? Lo and behold, we were able to do that, add in a showing partner, if you will, instead of carrying four agents. And her profit went up. She was operating at about a 28% profit. Her profit, net profit, according to the MREA model, went to almost 54%. And what we did then was we allocated like how much of that 54%, like that now can go into that wealth building. We're not going to just take it and go spend that money. What we're going to do is we're going to take it and allocate it to start making you more money so that 5 years from now, your money that you're making now by running a streamlined team is now that's been allocated to bring you more money is bringing you more money. And guess what? If you didn't want the team, you don't have to have the team. I can't see her ever stepping away from it really because now she's doing the passionate things that she likes to do. Oh, and by the way, back to working like 9 to 5 doesn't work any weekends.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was a shift and it was a tough shift. Every week we were talking about, I don't know if this is going to work. Well, here's the other amazing thing that most people don't realize. If you look at your goals, we look at goals like this. We look at goals a year at a time and go, this is my goal for the year. No, no, no. We have an economic model. What if we break it down to this? But even more so, if everybody focused, Jenny, one transaction a week. Who am I going to list this week? Or what buyer am I going to sign? And who am I going to put under contract this week?
Mhm.
That's 50 units if you take 2 weeks of vacation, which is more than enough for most people as an individual agent.
Yeah.
And that's what we focused on. Ended up finishing the year at 66 units. She gave herself a big raise because we got smarter, not more. We didn't do more. We didn't go get more. We looked at what was important to her and that's what we implemented. And I think that's why, I don't care who you are. One, you need a coach, and two, you need a coach that understands you and what you want
Yeah.
and how you um want to live your life.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be about more, more, more. Go do more. Go make more calls.
And
Oh,
I was going to
nobody
add,
wants to hear that.
I know, and I was going to add that in, but you already put an exclamation point on it. It's, thank goodness that she has someone that cares about her and her goals and her family rather than just, producing to produce and earning income for why.
Right. You know
Mhm.
what, Jenny,
Yeah.
real quick on that. I look over and I look at all my reference books that I have here, and of course I have my beautiful spiral bound one. And the
Yeah.
one thing that I tell people is think of this book as the skeleton. This is the skeleton. It's a great playbook. It's the skeleton, but each of you have to put your own meat on that skeleton. And it
Mhm.
might look different for everybody. Your skeleton may stop at level 3. Your skeleton may stop at 1. Your skeleton may go all the way to 6 or 7, or your meat, but that's on you. It's what you decide, and then having the right people that'll help you get there. Whether you're hiring them, whether you're partnering with them, whatever it is.
But my ego gets in the way.
Okay.
I'm just saying that is like that.
Okay.
That I feel
Yeah.
like is we don't know, or I'm self-aware enough to know that's usually what it really is.
Yeah.
That, but I've built all this to be this way, to look this way, and it's maybe not the joy that I once.
Well, your ego. I mean, if we extrapolate that a little bit, our ego, we hang on to those thoughts in our ego because we think it's what's going to make us happy. If it's not making us happy, open your eyes, give yourself the smack in the head and go, okay, I'd rather be happy than look good, right? And even look good. What does that even mean to people? I want to show up and be a certain person. I want to show up and be in a room. Really? I'd rather show up on a beach in Tahiti. That's just me.
In.
I mean, let's think about it. I mean, and not that there's anything wrong with the people that want to build that, but some people have that that drive and that go and that they will just get there. If
Yeah.
you're struggling to get there, maybe that's not your journey. Maybe your journey needs to take a different road,
Yeah.
right? Jenny, you're in Tulsa, I'm in Chicago. How many different ways are there to for us to different ways to get where you want to go? It's figuring out where you want to be and what you want first. And if it's all about ego, you're never going to be satisfied. Because once you get there, you're going to be like, this is it? This is what I busted my ass for? Like, what's next? And people aren't happy.
Yeah.
And people aren't happy. It's kind of a version of the work version of a midlife crisis, right? The midlife crisis is always defined as someone gets to a certain point in life and they look around and go, really, this is what I've been working for my whole life? Because it was something they felt that they had to do. They didn't know the meaning behind doing it.
Oh.
And if they understood the meaning behind doing it, they that would just be another stop on the journey, whatever that journey looks like.
So I want to shift gears a little bit
Sure.
on our journey from Chicago to Tulsa.
Yeah.
But what I am thinking about a lot right now is the new phase of my life. That's called
Hmm.
empty nester. You've been there.
Hmm.
Our many of our momentum members are in that journey or have been. And so let's talk to us specifically now.
Yeah.
Not only, are we above a 50 number, maybe, or maybe not, but we are less caring about all of that fluff and stuff. But how do we now become our new self without the little younger, the not little, the younger person that we're used to having by our side every day?
Honestly, that is one of those things that that could be a challenge. And I saw a quote recently, and I'm pulling it up right now, and it said, "Do not underestimate the difficulty in the shift from being the director of your child's life to becoming a member of the audience. It will be your greatest transformation."
Mhm.
And I remember thinking when I was going through this that, my daughter, much like yours, I'm in Chicago. She was going to school in LA. Like, I'm like, part of me was like, how can she leave me? The other part is, am I freaking nuts to like let my kid go halfway across the country to go to school? And I remember having a conversation with a mentor who said, you've raised her for this. This is her journey. This is her time. What's your next adventure going to look like?
Right.
And at that moment in time, I'm like, I hadn't even thought about it. I honestly had not thought about what it would look like when she was gone, other than I was going to be so sad because she wasn't here all the time. So, and again, there were still parts of very much a huge part of my heart that went off to LA with her. But it was like, okay, what am I going to look to create now with my husband or with my friends or in my business or in my hobbies that I wasn't choosing to do before because I was choosing to spend time with her while she was still here. So I literally looked at it, Jenny, as if I was picking up, a pen and a new journal and going, okay, it's time to start writing my next chapter. I tried a lot of things I had never done before. Tried some different hobbies. Some of them I liked, some of them it's like, this is dumb. I don't like this. I don't like this. People that play tennis, God bless you. It's not my thing. Not my thing at all. Can't whack it hard enough. I don't think so. Um, but the point is you've got to be able to go out there and build your own journey. And whatever that looks like with no judgment, because the only person that's judging you is that person that's looking at you in the mirror. They're the only one judging you. The only one. Case in point, recently recorded some videos. I saw the video and was horrified. Everybody else was sending, oh my God, this is amazing. I love this, blah, blah, blah. And all I saw was, no, that isn't the person I thought I would. The message sounded like me, but it wasn't me. And I got to work, and it's still recently new on what do I want to do about it. So if you don't like the situation you're in, well, newsflash, you created it. You're the only one that can get you out of it. So my best advice to anybody that's going through that is, what are you actually doing for yourself? What are you creating for yourself? And don't give me this bullshit of, oh, I'm a workaholic, I love to work. No, that's a habit because you can't figure out something else or you're too afraid to try something else. You've
Yeah.
already mastered the work thing. Now it's time to look inward.
I love that. I feel like that's a great place for us to stop and wrap up this session.
Sure.
You are an amazing joy to also follow and learn
Yes,
from.
thank
So
you.
just tell everyone how they can best find you, Kara.
Well, absolutely. On Instagram, it's the Kara Moll. That is not an ego thing. Trust me. Someone else was Kara Moll and had it. Like, what? And she's since gotten married, but it's the Kara Moll on Instagram and Facebook. For those that are on Facebook, it's Kara Moll Sales and Communication Expert. I do have a TikTok, other things like that. I don't know what they are, but those are the two that I'm on. I'm on the most Instagram and Facebook. And again, I also have a website, caramel.com. Weekly, we send out, I publish a blog weekly. It's a lot about communication, introspection, things like that. So if you want to get that, just go to the website and you can sign up. You're instantly going to get a nice little download that you can use right away that's going to help you figure out you, as well as be added to the list of upcoming events, including, like I mentioned, that 2 day collaboration where Phil is coming into Chicago to teach for 2 days. And can I mention, Jenny, it's less than half of what you would pay in New York. So there's that. I'm not saying, anything, but there's that. And other upcoming events or classes that I'm teaching, etc. So if you want more information, those are the places people can find me.
Well, I can always continue this convo with you, and I always enjoy your time. So thank you for sharing with our group.
Oh, it is my pleasure. Jenny, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. Let's figure out your purpose and let's go for it. Get your pen out. Let's start writing your chapter.
That's awesome. Thank you.